Hello everyone, welcome back to Tool Truck Tools, where we discuss everything tool truck related. Do have a tool haul to go through with you here today. This one's snap-on style. All of this was purchased off the snap-on truck with my own money, other than this Mac knife that we'll use here to kind of go through some of the unboxing. A little quick review of this knife. This knife I did purchase last year off of the local Mac truck. This was a breast cancer awareness knife, as you can see. One of my favorite knives. Great fit and finish. I think it was about 40 or 50 bucks. The only thing I don't like about it is it doesn't work very well as a everyday carry, just because there is a lot of texture here and it doesn't slide in and out of your pocket very smoothly. However, there are some positives to that. It gets very good grip, and there are some some other sides to that. I just don't like it as a daily carry just because it's too hard to get in and out of your pocket. But overall, very good knife. No complaints about it. Again, this was purchased last year as part of the breast cancer awareness campaign. That stuff should start hitting your local distributor soon, so if you're interested in that, certainly ask for them. First thing we're going to go through here is MAGTRAYR. This is versions of this are sold by many different companies. SunX has one. This is the Snap-on version. The part number on this is MAGTRAYR for red, or MAGTRAYR. We'll get into this. It's kind of your standard packaging here. Kind of the trick portion of this is it can either be flat, where it can fold down flat if you want to just hang it up on a wall somewhere, or kind of the trick portion of this is it turns into a bowl, as you can see here. First time with the buttons, probably just a new thing, but they do seem a little stiff, but I'm sure after they're used a couple times it won't be a problem. You can kind of see the indentions in here a little bit for the magnets. It does appear to be good coverage of the magnets. I wouldn't say it's great, but it is good. There appears to be one every inch or so. I will say, if you guys have not tried out the JDTco version, it's not a bowl shape like this. It's just a flat mat. There are much more magnets in the JDTco version than there are in the Snap-on version. Not sure about the SunX version. I may get that to do kind of a comparison there. But you can kind of see, I don't know how well that'll show up, but everywhere there's a little circle, there's a magnet, and it does appear to catch everything. I would say that the coverage is adequate. One thing I will point out about this, certain things that Snap-on is known for is usually being the most expensive product. If there's similar products, normally the Snap-on version is at or the most expensive. I wouldn't say that's not the case here. This mat here, I did get it on sale for $67. I think it was $67 out of one of the flyers. I think it was last month's flyer. The SunX version of this goes for about $55 online. So there is a difference. It's likely the same product or made in the same place. But for a Snap-on version to be, very small percentage higher, in this case here, I wouldn't say that the normal deal where Snap-on is 2 or 3 times more is true in this case. I actually didn't have a problem. That's one of the problems. One of the reasons I did go with this version was just because I felt it was a opportunity to get a Snap-on product that wasn't severely overpriced compared to like a SunX or a different version. We'll see how the quality goes. I don't see any issues here with the quality. The snaps seem to be very engaging, very tactile. As with most Snap-on products, I haven't seen any real glaring issues with with quality, and we'll see how it goes. That is the MAGTRAYR. Again, I think I caught this on sale for $67. I'm pretty sure that the equivalent Sunex version can be had for right at $55. Again, I don't know how well that's focusing in there, but every little circle that you see is a magnet. And maybe I'll do a review of the JD Tico version compared to this one. But the JD Tico version, the coverage of the magnets, the internal magnets, appears to be much better. We'll see how that goes. So that's the MAGTRAYR. I'm sure they'll come out with them in different colors, but as of right now, I think this is the only color. They may have black, but this is the only color that I'm aware of. Next thing we'll go through, local distributor did get this was the first set of the new 1/4-inch ratchets that he had in stock. We'll go through the first one. This is the standard length. This is the CTR825DB, and this is the standard reach 1/4-inch electric ratchet. First impressions, the light ring, basically it's the same, appears to be the same or very similar light ring to the 3/8 models. Prior to this model, the 1/4-inch just basically had a regular little dot light on it. This is what should be a very big improvement. I think they did up the torque specs in it a little bit here. Let's throw a battery in it. Yeah, that light appears to be very similar, if not the exact same as the 3/8 version, which was a big distinction. And honestly, guys, this is one of the things that really distinguishes the Snap-on version of these electric ratchets, at least from an appearance standpoint, and some from practicality, because there obviously is some use in some practicality and some use for a good light. But one of the things, the big distinguishing features between the Snap-on and the other electric ratchets is this light ring. Just much better coverage. I don't know why none of the other manufacturers have not at least tried to get something close to this. They seem all to be stuck on having just a little individual LED there. Not the end of the world, and certainly doesn't make the product unusable. But I think that if you're going to charge a premium price, which it seems like most manufacturers are doing now, it seems like they would go with the more premium option, which I don't think anybody would argue. This is the most premium option when it comes to ratchet lighting. The directional switch, it's actually pretty good. Seems to be very tactile. Feels like it's maybe a little bigger than the previous version. I will say that this directional switch is definitely better, at least at first use, than the Milwaukee version. Easier to get to, more tactile, easier to deal with. I know they sell those little attachments for the Milwaukee version, but just right out of the box, I would say this is an improvement. I would say the same thing over the Matco Infinium too. I would say that this is a better directional control from the Matco Infinium as well. I think that's a good upgrade. It does feel a little bit improved even over the previous version. Fit and finish appears to be very good. I don't see any real concerns here. It does already have the boot on it. Kind of wish it didn't. Just kind of see the gears moving around in there, but maybe the next one won't. Yeah, all in all, let's test the trigger here. So trigger seems decent. I would say good. It doesn't appear to be as good as responsive as the Matco Infinium trigger. at least with the short time that I've been testing it here, it seems to come on more abruptly than the Matco one. The Matco Infinium seems to have a much gradual transition from on to off. This one seems to kick on. It does have the gradual buildup like the Infinium, and this is not a bad trigger by any means. This is certainly usable and honestly pretty nitpicky to kind of go through that. But it is a difference from one to the next. If I had to say right off the bat, just first go at it, first impressions, I would say probably the Matco trigger is a little better. No doubt about it. The light is going to take. This is going to be an improvement over both the Milwaukee and the Matco Infinium. And so far as the directional switch, I'm going to say the Snap-on's going to have this one as well. Just seems to be a little bit more to grab onto, a little bit more tactile engagement, and all in all, really good. Do love the light ring. Again, I don't think there's anything like that on the market. This is what we'll do. We'll get the Matco version after we get some testing on it, and we'll get the Matco Infinium version. We'll get the new standard reach. This one here, the new standard reach 825 CTR825, and we'll get the Milwaukee standard reach high-speed ratchet, high-speed quarter-inch ratchet. We'll do a first impressions review just like we're doing here. Send them all out for field testing, get some field testing done, get some testing on them, and report back with some numbers. Again, all in all, first glance on this, I have no complaints. This does retail for, got my quick spec sheet here. Again, can't no talking noise about my handwriting. This does retail for $273.95. I'd say that's on the steeper end, but as the prices keep going up, I wouldn't say it's too out of line just based on everything else that's out there. I'm sure there's local deals available potentially on the truck. Did increase the torque to 40, very small increase there. I think the previous model was 35, and RPMs are now 400. See how that goes. We will get some speed tests on. It will be non-scientific. It won't be anything like torque chest channel does or anything like that. But we'll get some fasteners on and off with it and see how they compare. I do think that just from first glance here, obviously without any sockets on it or anything, it's hard to tell. But it does appear to be a little bit zippier than the previous model. I would say on first glance, on par with the Milwaukee offering and the Matco Infinium offering. So that is the new CTR825DB. I'm sure they'll come out in other colors. Again, this is probably the main improvement here. That and just the minor increase in the torque rating and the speed rating. I think the other one was 350 RPM, but I'd have to double check that. All right, let's move on to the long reach. All right. Long reach appears to be very, very similar, if not identical, to the standard reach. Not seeing any difference in either the light ring, fit and finish, overall design. The directional switch appears to be identical. Not seeing any differences in those. Pop a battery in this. Yeah, light ring appears to be identical. Again, that's going to be the big improvement. The torque and the speed is going to be some as well, but they are pretty minimal. Trigger Let's get a little trigger test here. So the light does come on slightly before you get the engagement of the anvil starting to move, which I think is a good thing. But again, this does appear to have the, I would say this trigger is pretty much identical to the other one. Again, I'd say it's good overall. No real complaints. Pretty nitpicky to talk about it, but just going through a first impressions video, I think it's worth mentioning. Does not have the gradual or as gradual. See, there's the light. There's where the light activates, and it's just fractions of an inch afterwards, after the light activates, that the anvil starts to actually turn. Yeah, all in all, good stuff. To this battery here, just point of reference, this is the snap-on version of the magnetic battery cover for the 14.4 batteries. They're okay. I think they're like $40 off the truck. They're not as strong as some of the SDS offerings. However, I feel like they don't damage the batteries as much. I've had several issues with not only just the SDS style, but the other style where you kind of you replace some of the hardware into the batteries, and there's some very, very, very strong magnets that you can hold, even half-inch impacts upside down, no problem. I will say I did bring this one here. This is an SDS. This is what's left of an SDS cover that I had on a 14.4 battery. I will say SDS is very good about warranting these. They did warranty multiple of these, but they just kept breaking. They kept breaking, and anytime basically the tool is banged a little bit. So I feel like the design is good. I think maybe the plastic that's being used to print it maybe needs some strengthening. But again, I've warrantied these before, and they've been super good about it. Dropped them in the mail. They were there within a week, no issues. Just for me, I'm going to go with either this version or a similar version where I just don't feel like it's as intrusive to the battery, where you're not screwing something into the battery. Again, I'm not saying anything bad about the SDS products. I think particularly for the impacts, for your 3/8 and quarter inch and 3/8 and half inch impacts, the ability to put it, hold one on a lift or anywhere that's convenient is a huge benefit in some situations. This version here will not do that. The strength of the magnet is nowhere near the strength of these. They also have their pry bar holders, and the holding power is phenomenal. So not criticizing these at all. I'm just saying that for myself, particularly for ratchets and the 14.4 stuff, I'm going to go with more of this style. I'll probably stay with this style for the heavier stuff where you need the more powerful magnets, because the holding power is fantastic. That's all I have here. We'll get some testing done on this and report back. Well, I do want to point out here just the transition of whenever you're on the trigger, you get the light first as you're there's the light, and then shortly after, that's whenever you get the activation. So there is some gradual activation in this trigger. It could be that the way the trigger is set up, rather than the Matco one, where I believe the Matco Infinium comes on, the light comes on as soon as the anvil starts to turn, although I'd have to verify that. It could be that this trigger is set up to, as you're gradually pressing, you get the light first in the gradual progression, and then you get the engagement of the anvil. And if that's the case, honestly, I might actually prefer this. Just an observation. Not even sure if that's the case, but that's something I'm gonna look into as I get more into this. Let's go through some of the specs here on the long reach, particularly the price. So this does retail for $341.95. Pretty pricey for a quarter inch extended reach ratchet, although not necessarily out of the ballpark. Not necessarily a direct comparison. The Insider Ratchet by Milwaukee retails for $299. Does a lot more, comes with some sockets, interchangeable anvils, so there's a lot more going on there. Really not a direct comparison. Only reason I bring that up is because it is a reference for a extended reach ratchet that's touching the $300 range. As everybody knows, there's deals on the truck. You may possibly be able to get it lower than that and closer into the twos, depending on what kind of deals you and your distributor can work out. Same thing with the extended reach. These are just MSRP prices. That doesn't mean these are prices that are paid. I will say for myself, I did pay slightly lower than both of these prices, but it was fairly close to retail. That's all I got today. Thanks for visiting Triple T. We appreciate your time. And if you have any questions, certainly let me know in the comments there. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day. Thank you.